What's up, YouTube? Yes, I'm doing a review on a mouse that most people probably don't even know or care about. But recently in my streams on Twitch, I've been getting some questions about mice? Anyways, nowadays it probably doesn't even matter what mouse you buy as long as it's from one of the major brands like Logitech, Razer, SteelSeries, or Corsair. Every company basically makes a mouse at whatever budget you need and it'll be a solid choice. But I still remember the days when you could spend $100 on a mouse and it could still be crap, which is why the reviews mattered a lot more back then, even on the big brands. So if money is no issue today, you can spend $200 and get every feature available, like a Razer Viper Ultimate. And if you're on a budget of $40 or so, you can get a Logitech G203. Cheap, no frills, solid performance mouse. Drop another 20 and you can have a wireless version as well. At the end of the day, when it comes to a mice, it basically comes down to personal preferences for 99.99% of the gamers out there. But what if you want a mouse that's at a price of a Razer Viper Mini or a Logitech G203, but with a bit more features? Is it even possible? So I started looking on Amazon to see if there are any off-brand mice that deserves to play with the big league. So I chose the Black Shark BSM1 mouse. I have purchased the mouse at $35 Canadian, and it seems to be a pretty solid alternative to this Logitech G305 I have here. So what does this mouse claim to offer? Wireless and wired functions. I'm already scared just hearing about it. A $35 wireless gaming mouse? Kinda sketchy. Rechargeable battery, which is considered a premium in the wireless gaming world. Even the Logitech G305 uses replaceable AA battery. A replaceable honeycomb shell, which is all the craze right now. Personally, I don't think it's all that, but for a wireless mouse, to reduce weight, it does make sense. It has a Pixart PMW3325 sensor. This is why I considered this mouse. Even the Corsair Harpoon Wireless uses this sensor. RGB control. Even the G305 doesn't have that. Gaming software. This is pretty cool. Many mice at this price point does not have any customizable software. So I guess we'll see how customizable this bad boy really is. Ultra lightweight at 90 grams. I mean, sure, 90 grams is not heavy. I like my mice at 80 to 90 grams, but it's definitely not ultra lightweight in today's standard or even yesterday's standard. It is lighter than the G305 and the Harpoon for sure. Not sure if it's ultra lightweight though. Ergonomic design. That's another reason I picked this mouse. The look of the shape reminded me of the old Zowie FK, the SteelSeries mice, or even the glorious Model O mouse. So let's have a weigh-in of the mouse. The mouse itself is only 81 grams without anything else attached to it. The battery by itself, 14 grams. We can use the solid back shell, and that's 9 grams. And the honeycomb shell is 3 grams lighter at 6 grams. The lightest configuration you can have on this mouse is 88 grams, which means you have to use it in wired mode with the honeycomb shell and with the battery detached. Now once you put the battery in, the heaviest configuration with the solid back shell is 106 grams. Changing the backing is quite easy. Magnetically secured, and it can save you 3 grams of weight when you go with the honeycomb shell, but it does not change the shape of the mouse whatsoever. This is not a light mouse in wireless mode. It is in fact heavier than the G305, but I don't know why. It feels lighter than the G305. Feels like an 85 gram mouse, not 106 grams. Let's get down to gaming with the mouse. The biggest elephant in the room has to be whether or not the wireless function sucks or not. While I don't have the software or hardware that can actually calculate time it took for any inputs to be registered, I am happy to report that I haven't noticed a difference in input delay between this mouse and the Logitech Lightspeed mice or in wired mode. So if there are any differences, it's minuscule. However, I play with quite a low sensitivity. That's 600 DPI on 0.318 sensitivity in Valorant or 1 sensitivity in CSGO. There has been a few times during Gridshot in Aim Labs that I thought I noticed a slight deceleration during hard flicks. Now I'm not 100% sure on that, but I have put in at least 12 hours of gaming time on this mouse so far, and never once have I noticed it in any of my gameplay. So it might all be mental. And as you can see, it does not affect my aim at all. I tried playing Gridshot and Aim Labs back to back, first wired, then wireless, then with the Logitech G305, and then the G604. The results are so close, I really don't think there's a difference at all. Maybe if I played the game 30 times on each mouse and then average the score, I might be able to give a more definitive answer. I also want to mention that prior to filming this review, I've actually had trouble getting over the 100k score in Aim Labs. But for some reason, after using this mouse, I started scoring around the 100k mark, no problem. And I've landed some pretty nutty shots in Valorant in wireless mode as well. So I don't really think there's any issues in wireless form. The sensor on this mouse performed as expected on any modern day mouse. No jitters, no accelerations, no angle snapping or smoothing. The lift-off distance is low. I've only used this mouse on a generic Black Hoth mousepad, and it seems to work quite well. Holy, this new mouse is kinda goated. The overall feel of the mouse is great. The plastic isn't soft to the touch, but it does feel solidly built. If anything, it feels the same as the G305, but not premium like the G604. The honeycomb cutouts on the side provide plenty of grip. Shape of the mouse is exactly as I thought. It's ambidextrous and sits somewhere between a Zowie FK and a Razer Viper, which both are shapes that's been loved by casual users and esports competitors. I'd say the mouse primarily gears itself for claw grip. There isn't quite enough of a hump on the heel for a true palm grip, and perhaps a little on the heavy side for fingertip grip. You can, however, remove the battery and use the wired mode to reduce weight. For lefties out there, there are no thumb buttons for you. Speaking of buttons, while I did mention earlier it is a little bit on the mushy side, turns out it just needs some breaking in. They feel great and tactile after some use. A little on the heavier side like my old Zowie, so it's not a light trigger, but definitely not overly heavy either. No problem with accidental clicks. Feedback on the thumb buttons feel great, and they're placed quite nicely, out of the way but also accessible. Although a little bit on the small side. Scroll wheel clicks feel great. The scroll itself does lack a little bit of feedback, but at least it's tight. And what I mean by that is that it won't accidentally roll itself over and randomly add inputs like weapon swap or jump, which the G305 does. There are some other things you might want to know about the mouse as well, and it does come with its own little quirks here and there. Under the mouse, you have the switch to turn the mouse off and on for wireless mode. And if you go further down, you can turn the underglow on the mouse on as well. But it will only light up if the dongle is plugged into a computer. The USB-C cable is also super light and flexible, so I haven't noticed any wire tugging when plugged in. But it did come shipped with a very tiny fray. You can remove the battery when using the wire to further reduce the weight of the mouse. Battery life is actually quite reasonable. I've personally used the mouse for around 20 hours before needing a charge. The mouse will sleep after about 30 seconds of inactivity. However, the logo light remains on, so if you forgot to manually turn it off, it will drain the battery, which I have done in the past. At no point was it ever advertised with onboard memory, but it does come with that feature. So all your sensitivities and macros can transfer and be plug and play, but it does come with its own quirks. The mouse has its own memory depending on whether you are using wired or wireless. This means you have to set your wireless profile, then plug it in with the wire and set it again. Then you can plug it into any other computers and the profiles will be saved on both modes. Peek me too! When it comes down to the software, you have to use the direct link. For some reason, the tool is hidden on their website. I'll link it in the description below. Also, if you try to install it, it does say it's untrusted, so just make sure you allow it and it will install properly. There are no softwares available for Apple users though. The software itself is very simple to use. The main area here, you can change your button assignments, including media controls, different keystrokes, and macros. You can also disable them if you need to. You can see the battery life of your mouse here as well, which it does also indicate on the scroll wheel as well. Flashing red means low on battery. And of course, your polling rate. And if you're a gamer, you only use it at 1000 Hz anyways. Under lighting, you can choose how the underglow of the mouse behaves. You can choose between many different options, or turn it off. Alternatively, you can use your middle mouse click and back button to cycle through the different modes as well, which is pretty cool. Next tab is DPI. You have 6 stages of DPI settings you can choose from. I put it as 4 because that's all I ever really need. These are my settings. Under each of these DPI levels, you can actually choose what color it'll flash on your mouse. So right now 600 DPI is this aqua blue-ish color. We can, change it to a white instead. So if I click it, it will now flash white. And you can go ahead and change that for all the other DPIs as well. Mind you, the RGB only changes color for the mouse wheel button, and it will only temporarily change the color when you change DPI. Then it'll start doing its RGB breathing thing again. If we go over to parameters, mouse sensitivity, this actually adjusts your window sensitivity. It's a little weird because typically Windows sensitivity 6 is the middle point. In this case, you leave it at 10, that's the middle point. Now, pointer precision is actually automatically turned on when you first plug the mouse in, and it will actually change your Windows settings. You have to make sure you uncheck that when you come back into the software, unless you want it on. Last but not least, you have macro. They're actually really easy to set. They're very straightforward. All you have to do is click on new, name the macro, then just hit the start record button and start recording. So yeah, that's pretty much everything of significance you need to know about this mouse. It feels great in the hands, sensor tracks as it should, wireless input lag is not noticeable if there's even any lag at all, and wired mode can reduce the weight of the mouse to sub 90 grams by removing the battery. The mouse feels lighter than it should. What can I say? I really do like this mouse. It does come with some quirks though, and it really is just quirks. I wouldn't really say it's disadvantages. From resetting the Windows settings to RGB zones that can but can't really be controlled. No, the mouse is not perfect, but the price being only $35, I did not expect it to be. I would absolutely recommend this mouse to anybody looking to buy a new mouse. If you're looking specifically for a right-handed shaped mouse, then obviously this is not the choice. If you're looking for a mouse with more buttons for MMOs or MOBAs, then maybe the default 6 is not enough. Or if you're like me who has all my peripherals under one software, in my case the Logitech G Hub, then your choices are limited. This might be a big claim, but in my honest opinion, this mouse is easily the best buy under $80. For me to consider any mouse to be truly an upgrade beyond this mouse, I'd be looking at a mouse over $100, like a Logitech Pro. Compared to my G305, there are trade-offs though, like not having wired mode or rechargeable battery. But overall, I prefer this mouse over the G305, and compared to the most direct competitor, Corsair Harpoon Wireless, I will pick this mouse any day of the week, simply based on the form factor. I haven't ever actually tried the glorious Model O, but I would imagine that this would be much more affordable alternative to that mouse. So there you have it. A great mouse at a great price. What more can you ask for? Better yet, I will be giving this mouse away on my Twitch channel to one lucky subscriber. So come on over to my stream and show some love, and maybe you could be the winner of this mouse. If you think there are any other products that deserve some more attention or have any other questions about this mouse, leave a comment below. If you enjoyed the video, please consider dropping a like and subscribe, and until next time, peace out.